The more victories Kaizer Chiefs collects at this point, the less pressure will be applied onto management of Kaizer Chiefs. Now, from the turnout in the stands, we saw that it was a quite low turnout from what we normally see when Kaizer Chiefs plays out in Durban. But fortunately enough, though, for the supporters that were at the stadium, Kaizer Chiefs was able to win 2-0. Now, going into the game, from the onset, we saw that the Kaizer Chiefs came with a different tactic in that they started Ulilepo up front. Now, many of the supporters have been crying that Ulilepo should be starting up front instead of playing on the right wing for Kaizer Chiefs. And from that move, we saw that Kaizer Chiefs was able to create opportunities from the onset. Within the first 15 minutes, we saw that Ulilepo was able to get through in that he was able to create himself space as well as have a shot on a goal. Now, what let Ulilepo down today, I would believe, is the lack of quality in the final third, because many of the times he was able to create a space for himself in the box, but because he lacked composure, he was not able to put the ball into the back of the net. Also, what I picked up, he added a lot of presence for Kaizer Chiefs in that he was giving the defenders of Magesi a lot of problems, as that he added a lot of physical presence. Now, for Magesi, they did not really offer Kaizer Chiefs much in the first half. Considering that Magesi are last place on the log, you would have expected Magesi to apply more pressure on Kaizer Chiefs. Instead, the mistakes came from Kaizer Chiefs defenders themselves. In that, many of the times when you saw that in the first half, when Miguel was defending, he was mostly caught out of a position. And when he was caught out of a position, he was committing fouls because he was late on a ball. Now, if you see in that first half, there were about 3 fouls that Miguel created because of his timing on the ball. Also, McCarthy with Miguel at the back, when it was not Miguel who was creating opportunity for Magesi, McCarthy was doing the same thing for Magesi. Now, for the Kaizer Chiefs, fortunately enough, they did not have to wait too long. In that, the Kaizer Chiefs, because they had been applying a pressure, the ball came through center for Kaizer Chiefs, and because Ulilepo was a central point for Kaizer Chiefs, he was able to receive Ebola, and he was able to get Uduba, who was running onto from the right wing, and because Ulilepo was able to pick the pass, Duba was able to pick his spot and put the ball back in the back of the net. After the goal, we were expecting Kaizer Chiefs would control the game. But even after that, I was not really seeing much from Ungcobo as well as Umabue. In that many of the times, they were sitting in front of back for Kaizer Chiefs, in that they were not really looking to join final third Magesi. And that is why I feel that at times Kaizer Chiefs, when they were starting the ball, they would rather look to play to Miguel or McCarthy, and as soon as they receive the ball, they look to play the ball wide. Now, in left wing Kaizer Chiefs, I do not understand again why do Kaizer Chiefs insist on playing Opule Modi, because Opule Modi, he really struggles to take players on. Even today, how many times can we say that he honestly took players on? Every time I've seen that, rather when Uveli Pai has been playing in that place, we know that at least Uveli Pai is going to get the ball in. Coming out of the second half, I was really surprised by coach of the Kaizer Chiefs, in that Kaizer Chiefs, they were not really looking to add in numbers in the last third, because I saw that I saw Sereno came on, I saw as well as Vilakazi came on. But who did they come on for? They came on for Duba. The Duba is the person who was Duba is the player who was getting behind defenders Magesi, and Duba was also the person who was able to score. Why are you bringing out Duba when instead you can take out Umodi, who's not giving you on the left, and then you bring on Uvilagazi, who will be able to attack defense of Magesi as well as Uvilagazi as well as Utuba to attack defense Magesi. Now, also on the 75th minute, I do not understand coaches the Kaizer Chiefs. Kaizer Chiefs are only leading 1-0. 1-0 to a team that is 16th on the log, last place with Betway Premiership. They are on the way out of a Betway Premiership. But you are bringing defensive players instead of adding more numbers, because you brought on Monyane as well as Lumbani. There was a centre mid as well that you brought on. I do not understand why would you bring on a centre mid at that stage, knowing very well that Kaizer Chiefs, you are not very comfortable defending at the back, because we saw that at many times Miguel was being beaten in the aerial balls as well as McCarthy. And you know that Magesi, they are looking for a goal to make sure that they get off the bottom of the foot, but you are looking to sit back. Fortunately enough, though, for Kaizer Chiefs, Umonyane, because he was adding, because the type of way that he plays, he normally adds to Illustead, he was able to create a opportunity with Vilagazi and get a second goal for Kaizer Chiefs. Besides the goals that Kaizer Chiefs scored today, I would really like to say that I was not really impressed by the way that Kaizer Chiefs play, because there were moments in the game that you would not understand who is the bigger team between Kaizer Chiefs as well as Magesi, because there were times that you would see that Magesi that they are trying to play, but because of the lack of equality that they do not have Magesi, they were not really able to punish Kaizer Chiefs. Also, I do not understand for the Kaizer Chiefs, and every time that they are being attacked, it seems like they are going to be, it seems like they are going to concede a goal, because every time Vuma was facing Ebola, it seems like something was going to happen. Also, Vuma, why are you giving Ebola away indirect free kick? Because Ebola is a boxing. At that, more especially for a senior player, you would expect Uguti, he would know Uguti how he must deal with Ebola. If you've Ebola, you've already collected the ball, you can't put the ball back onto the floor and pick it back up. However, though, for the Kaizer Chiefs, I'd like to congratulate them, because you know, Uguti in South Africa, what really matters is results. And at this point of the season for the Kaizer Chiefs, they cannot afford not to take points. On the performance side, I was not really impressed by Kaizer Chiefs, because I was not really able to see what they are trying to do, because there was not really much of a combination play. I did not really see a link-up play between defenders as well as midfield, linking up to a final third. And then also for the Magesi, it's going to be very tough for them to come back into a season, because the lack of quality that they're showing tells you a lot about why they are in the position that they are. And I believe that the position that they are currently at is where they are supposed to be, because today they offered nothing to a game. On my side, if you viewed the game in a different way, if you have any comments, any standout players in the game, please hit the comment section. I want to hear your take on the game. Hit the like button, subscribe to my new viewers, and then I will also catch you on the next one. Thank you.